Hey, what's up, family?
Hey.
We are back for another episode of
Love and Entrepreneurship.
And so this week, we are going to be talking about the entrepreneurial mindset. A lot of times when we start off in business, the first thing people ask me is, what do I need to change? What do I need to start doing? And for me, the answer is always, you have to change your mindset. You have to renew your mind concerning business, concerning moving from doing things as an employee and receiving checks to actually understanding that there's a structure and a system that has to happen in order to become a successful business owner.
Yeah, I'm posting the link into all of our business pages. So if you are logging in right now, you should see some of the interaction. We're going to do our best to try to interact with you throughout the show.
Yep, we are taking questions and answers this week. We always love to do that. So whatever questions you have concerning business, please log in. And if you see that the setup's a little different this week, just wait. We're doing something a little different. All right?
All right. So welcome to Love and Entrepreneurship. I am Ty Woods. I'm a business coach, philanthropist, investor, executive director, mother, a wife, servant of God.
You ran out of titles? The list is pretty long.
Yeah, I'm a lot of things to a lot of people, but right now I am your business coach. So we hope to answer your questions today. But we have a very important topic that we're going to discuss today. We're going to talk about that mindset. What's between your ears?
Yep. So if you don't know by now, my name is Chris Woods. I love teaching and coaching businesses. Along with my wife, we do this. This is what we love to do. And I'm glad that you tuned in. For all my first timers, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. Make sure you hit subscribe on Love and Entrepreneurship Facebook page, and when you get a chance, go back and look at the other episodes on loveandentrepreneurship.com.
All right, well, we're not going to take too much of your Sunday today. We're going to just hop right into it. If you ever read the book Cash Flow Quadrant, that book is by Robert Kiyosaki. That book is, when I read that book, it changed the way that I think about business. It changed my life, really. So today we're going to walk you through what the cash flow quadrant is and where do you fall into it. And then we're going to talk about steps to get over to the right side of the quadrant. So the reason why we are set up like this today is because we have our handy dandy whiteboard.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. And so we're going to we're going to draw out the diagram and just kind of get the idea of where you stand concerning your entrepreneurial journey. Mm-hmm. So today is going to be a great day for you. All right, y'all ready to jump in? Let's go.
So, like I said earlier, when people come to me, they always ask, what do I need to change? What do I need to adjust? And the question is, first, you got to change your mindset. And so your mindset will determine how far you will go in business and how you even interact with those people around you. Most of us, in society, they tell us to go to school, get a good job, and work for someone else, right? I'm sure you heard that. A lot of you all out there do that, and that's fine. We all need people to be employees. Thanks for that like in those hearts. So we all need people to be employees because guess what? Everybody's not going to be a business owner, but they are positions for everyone. Right. But you're tuned in because you want to know about business. You want to know successful business. So I'm going to start off and I'm going to show you one thing that I learned from the book that was life-changing, which is called the cash flow quadrant. Like she talked about by Robert Kiyosaki. Changed my thought process.
Okay, so while he draws the quadrant, I'm going to just go through the four areas that we're going to touch today, and those areas are E, or these letters. You'll never forget these letters: E, Again, that's ESBI. Okay? Once again, this is from the book Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. This is not our information, but we are going to simplify. We call it dummify. This is Cash Flow Quadrant for me, dummies.
Compact guy.
Okay? So, the way that you decide where you are in your entrepreneurial journey is by finding out where you land in the quadrant. The quadrant is divided into, if you create a circle, Lord Jesus, a square. Okay, let's start with kindergarten shapes for 200, Alex. Okay, if you start off with a square, so squares without the outline. We do like an cross, and on the left side of the quadrant, you have an E and an S, and on the right side of the quadrant, you have a B and an I. So let's start with the left side of the quadrant, which about 95% of the United States of America resides in. Okay? So the E. What is an E? The E is an employee. The E is an employee. Okay? So when you are an employee, that means you work for someone else. They own your time, and your time is your leverage. Right?
Yep.
So you give them your time, they give you a paycheck.
Yep.
Pretty simple, right?
Yep. So you have a job in the concept of an E. You have a job, right?
Right. So as an E, that is the lowest level of freedom, but the highest level of stability.
Right. So if you're looking for stability, then guess what? Being an entrepreneur might not necessarily be for you at this time.
Okay. So there is a formula for those math geeks out there, and we're going to write this down.
All right.
Okay. 100% of your time.
And I'm hoping it's not backwards on your
times
side.
1 equals your income.
Yep. So income.
So 1 is you. So 100% of your time times you equals your income. And that's how an employee gets paid.
Right.
That's the mathematical equation.
So 100% times you equals your income.
Right. So of course, if you only worked part-time or 50% of the time, then that equation will be 50% times you equals your income. Okay? So, the equation for an employee is 100% of your time times 1, which is yourself, equals your income.
Yep.
All right? Now, you have no leverage as an employee. You exchange your time for money, and your employer owns your time. That is the lowest level of freedom, but the highest level of security. All right? Now let's move on to the next letter in the quadrant, which is an S.
All right.
All right.
So S symbolize being self-employed. So many of my entrepreneurs, you go out and you are successful at some degree of entrepreneurship, meaning that you created a job for yourself. You are the only person working. And a good way to determine whether or not you are self-employed is to determine how long can you go that position or as an entrepreneur without you being there. Can you earn money without you actually being in that position?
Right.
Yep.
So another determining factor about being self-employed is, that word self is the key.
Yep.
You are the business. You are the brand. So if you remove self, then the business goes away. So as an employee, someone else owns your time and then you get income. But when you're self-employed, you own your time, but you are the one that's the factor. You are the one that's the factor. So the equation is...
So the equation for this one is really you have no leverage, as she said. But here's the kicker. You now own
your time.
Your job.
You own your own job.
Mm-hmm.
You owned your own job.
Yep.
Which means you can own your time as a self-employed individual. Who are self-employed individuals?
Well, you have great people like doctors,
dentists,
lawyers,
accountants, CPAs, beauticians,
Yep.
barbers,
Yeah.
coaches, business coaches, life coaches, personal trainers. These are self-employed individuals. Most of the time, most people, when we find out that they're in business, they say, well, I have a business.
Mm-hmm.
And then we say, what kind of business do you have? They say, well, I have a personal training business. And I said, okay, well, how many clients do you have? Oh, well, I have about 10, 15 clients. Okay, so if we take you out of the equation, will your business still be running? Oh no, I'm the brand. I'm the one that drives business. I'm the one that's conducting the lessons. I'm the one that's teaching. I'm the one that's doing the taxes and the accounting. And if that is the case, then all you did was bought your own job. Well, not bought your own job. Sometimes you buy a franchise and you say, oh, well, I'm just going to buy a business. But you just own your own job. There's still not that much freedom in owning your own job, because now not only are you dependent on yourself to generate your own income, you also lose the security factor that a job can provide. However, on the flip side, you own your own time, so you can come and go when you want to. You can wake up whenever you want to. You can go to bed whenever you want to. You can show up whenever you want to. And you pretty much can decide how much you want to earn with your own job.
Right. So at the end of the day, as you're self-employed, time equals your revenue. Time equals money.
Right. So when you put the time into it, you generate the money.
Yep.
So the mathematical equation for a self-employed individual is time equals money. So I hear that all the time. You wasting my time, and time equals money.
Don't waste my time now.
Don't waste my time. Well, for some people, time does equal money, and so you have to be very conscious of their time. So honestly, if you're dealing with someone that's self-employed and you are running late, or you're wasting their time, or you're not planning on actually buying from them, then please don't waste their time, because time is money, baby. For them, it is. Okay? They need that time to work on their business. All right. Where do you fall? Are you an E or are you an S? An E is an employee. You have a job. Someone else pays you. And your time is owned by them. An S, your time is owned by yourself, but your time is spent generating leads, contacting clients, working with clients, and producing the service or the product that your clients need in order for you to get paid.
Right. And if you are an E currently, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
And I know a lot of people are transitioning into entrepreneurship, and that's great. I'm glad you tuned in.
Right.
Guess what? There are seasons where you might want to have a job. We talked about it on the previous episode, that you might have to have a job until you can work on your business. I, for a long time, had a nighttime job and worked on my business in the day until I can fully step out and walk on the water.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this about Chris, but he used to do nighttime security. A lot of people think that we just popped up out of nowhere and just decided we're going to be an entrepreneur, and we didn't have anything to jump out from. But hey, we all had to work hard to get to where we are today. And so nothing is easy. It's going to take work.
Yeah.
Now, let's find out where you need to be.
Right.
The right side of the quadrant. Let's go. The next part of the quadrant is the B
right? So ideally, we want to move from this side to this side of the quadrant.
All right, so the next is the B. The B is the business owners.
Mm-hmm.
The business owners. Okay, well, let's do a mathematical equation for this. We're going to do 1% times 100.
Yep.
1% times 100 equals your income. So you are the 1%. Let's say 1%, but the 1.
The 1. Right?
1 times 1. And 100 is your people.
The amount of people.
The amount of people. So it doesn't necessarily mean 100 people.
Right.
But it just means that the multiplier is the number of people that you have working for you. Okay? So you have 1 times 100 equals your income.
Right. And so just for clarity, so the 100% is a representation of effort put into to it. So let's think about that as a whole pie, and it's how much effort you're putting into it. So 1 times the 100, that's amount of effort again that you're putting into it.
Right. So you notice the difference between the E and the B. On the E side, it's 100 times 1. But on the B side is 1 times 100.
Right, and it should be 100%.
100%.
And then this is 1% times the 100. Right?
Okay. So many of you saying, "Well, you lost me with the equation." I didn't do well in math, Ty. I didn't do well. Can you just break it down for me in plain English? Okay. I'm glad you asked me to break it down in plain English. So this is the simplified version.
All right. So go ahead.
As a business owner, you own a system.
Mm-hmm.
You own a system, and people work for you in that system.
Right. So that means that people equals money.
Right. So as long as you have people working the system, then you will have income. People and system equals income.
Right. So here's the thing. When you're getting into business, I always encourage people to think about whatever business you're starting and what is the system that needs to be set up in order for it to run without you.
Right. I think that's a perfect place to insert the water well story.
Okay, that's a great idea.
I think so too.
So, in the book, if you have not read The Cash Flow Project, so there is a village that has no water. And the village looks for someone who can provide water for them. Now, there is a river that's so many miles away from the village, but they say, hey, we don't know how to get there. We don't know how to get that water from the river to the well. So
to the village.
Right, to the village. Right, that's in the well that's in the village. So what they did was they actually looked for someone to do it. And a guy came up and he said, you know what? I can do it. I have buckets. I can get the buckets and begin to carry the water from the river to the village and put in the wells.
Right.
And so what? Guess what? He was pretty successful at that.
Right. He took the buckets, walked to the river, grabbed water, 2 buckets, walked back to the village, dumped the water in the well.
Right.
And he kept doing that. And the demand for water increased. So he brought his son on board.
He said, hey, son, you know what? I need you to help me. So now what he did was he doubled his efforts, right? So instead of just taking 2 buckets, now he can take 4 buckets, right? So now what happened is he's relying on, of course, his family members to help him and aid him. But all the while, there's another man that comes up and he says, you know what? I can provide that.
I can provide water.
I could do the same thing. And they said, really? He said, guess what? And I can do it for half the price. He said, what? Half the price?
How was that? How was that?
He says, wait, just give me time. And it took him a while, but that's what he did.
He surveyed the land.
Mm-hmm.
He did some construction.
Yep.
It took him about 2 years.
Yep.
3 years.
Mm-hmm. But guess what happened? Over time, he began to build a trench. And in that trench, he began to build a water system that ran from the river into the well so that the villagers can begin to get water.
Right.
So guess what he did? He may have missed out on money in the beginning, but guess what he did? He maximized his efforts by creating a system where he didn't have to do the work.
Right. And now, today, the village is full of water because of the water system. And because of that system, now he can actually duplicate that system in other villages to create more jobs for other people. And so instead of focusing on you, now we can switch into you. Instead of focusing on carrying the water yourself, why don't you take some time out and figure out what system do I need to put into place in order for the water to go from the river to the village without me. That is going to be the key to becoming a successful business owner. How many times have you been to McDonald's? You seen the owner of McDonald's?
I've never seen
the owner of McDonald's flipping burgers?
I don't think so.
Cashing you out
No,
in the drive-thru? Have you ever seen the owner of McDonald's? No, you haven't. The reason why you haven't seen it is because McDonald's has a system. And that system is generating income because they have the people in place. As long as you have the people in place to operate the system, then you can generate income.
And that's called passive income. And we all want to generate passive income. But in order for you to do that, you have to move over from the left side of the quadrant to the right side of the quadrant.
And it may take time. For us, it took us years before we could pull ourselves out of the business, the day-to-day operations of the business, and focus on other business ideas. But it took us years. At the same time, we developed a system that works without us. So now we can actually focus on other ventures and then start generating income through other ventures by creating other systems. Okay, so it's important that you understand that this side of the quadrant is the most beneficial and most advantageous place to be when you want financial freedom. When you want financial freedom. Now, what is a business on a balance sheet?
You tell me.
Is it an asset or a liability?
You tell me.
Well, you tell me. A business is an asset when you have income coming in. The business is a liability when you have more debt and more time that has to be allocated from yourself than you have income coming in.
So that's actually a whole nother topic when we talk about actually what is assets and what is liabilities.
But the reason why I brought up assets is because a business can be a form of an asset.
It can,
and remember, we don't get paid from a job, we get paid from our assets.
Say that again.
Man, I don't think y'all heard me.
Say that one more again.
We don't get paid from our job. We get paid from our assets. Our assets pays our bills, and our assets pays our debt, and our assets pays our vacations. When you go over into the side of financial freedom, you no longer worry about a job paying you. Instead, you concern yourself with how many assets can I put into play that will generate enough income to live the lifestyle that I want to live.
That's good. I like that.
I just dropped a nugget. I just dropped a big one.
That was a big nugget.
A big one. And I sure hope y'all rewind that. And rewind it and keep rewinding it until you catch it.
You got to determine your success. To be able to determine your success is by knowing how much money you want to be able to make. Where you want to live. Right? How much do you want to travel? So that also determines I need to set up my business so that I know how much my profits will be. Exactly.
And then you live off your profits. But that's a different.
You go. So
that's another time. That's another episode.
It really
We're gonna finish
up. To start me on something else.
Woo! That was good. But let me tell you something. You better tune in when we start talking about that topic, it will change your life and your way of thinking.
Yep.
And right now, we just dropping the nuggets to help you change your mindset. But this can go for weeks. This series can go for weeks. Now we're going to end with the last letter in the quadrant, which is the I.
Yep.
The I is also an asset. The I stands for investment.
Yep. Something that
Investor, an
an
investor is someone who uses money to make money.
Yep.
So their money works for them.
So money.
So the equation is money equals money. Right?
Which is what we all want to do. Have our money work for us.
Right.
That means that when you're asleep, you're making money.
Right.
When you're on vacation, you're making money. When you're driving down that busy freeway,
the 75,
the 285, more like it.
Yeah.
You're in Atlanta, you know that 285. But it's all right. You can relax. You can put it on cruise control. You know why?
You making money. So your income is not dependent on you or your presence.
Yes.
Your income is not dependent on you, your employees, or your presence. So the reason why it's different than being a business owner is because your money is working for you, not you. Once you put your money into an asset, that asset starts generating income. So what are some of the things that people put money into that generates money? So you have to, you have the stock market.
Yeah.
You have Forex.
You have
that's
real estate.
Real estate, which is probably the number one way
of the largest,
the number one and the more safer asset-based investment that you can make. If you don't know anything about the stock market, I would caution you to not just throw your money into any old stock. Make sure you get advice professionally. Professional advice. Stay away from YouTube. How to invest in the stock market.
I tell people all the time, with anything you do, make sure you build a firm foundation.
And educate yourself.
Educate yourself. I'm not telling you to go back to school. You might have to go back to school. But find books, find messages and people and authors that have been where you're trying to go, so that you can get the information and begin to apply it to yourself. Right.
So the best way I could explain this to you is that with our real estate investment, we have a rental property that the mortgage is probably about $800 for, and the house is renting for about $1,900. And as you can see, there is a positive cash flow for. I like writing down.
You like writing?
I like writing down. You take 1,900 and you subtract 800. That leaves $1,100. 1,900.
So yeah.
Yep, we got $1,900. Now you might want to subtract mortgage, so that's 800.
Okay.
$800. And then you also want to subtract the insurance. So take 50 off of that. And then we also put aside a maintenance fund for the maintenance fund. So you want to also deduct 100 from that. Okay. So that leaves us with how much money left over for the month. So we had $950 left at the end of the month. Positive cash flow. You multiply that times 12, and you can see how much money we make off of that one rental property per year. Now imagine if we had 10 or 15 or 20 or 100 rental properties just like that. Now this is an anomaly. It's definitely not the norm to have this much cash flow in a rental property. I would say
well, you really get into something else for real. So I'm thinking about, gotta determine what the LTV is for the property.
Well, that's on the flip, when you're flipping. But when we're dealing with rental properties, we just generally try to pull out a good 25-30% per month of profit.
Right.
of profit. So how do we determine how to price it? Number one, we have to look around the market and see how much market rents are going for. And then if we're able to refinance the current mortgage and bring the mortgage amount down, then we could actually pull out a little bit more for positive cash flow monthly.
Right, but here's the thing with that. If you get a property and you begin to rent it out and you are even $50 earning positive cash flow, guess what? You're still headed in the right direction.
Right. Yep. You're headed in the right direction, because the one thing about real estate, especially if you bought the real estate in an appreciating neighborhood, then even though you're only making $50 a month off of the rental property, you're still appreciating a minimum of 2 to 5% every year. So when your time comes to sell the property, not only are you generating positive cash flow, but you're also going to have some equity built in there. And if you want, you can pull some of that equity out and purchase another property. But that's a different story for a different day. I just kind of wanted to give you an idea of what we do when it comes to investments, because this is how you keep money coming in without working for it.
Right.
So in real estate, for us, is the way that we do it. There are some people that we know that invest in Forex, which is a currency exchange. There are people that we know who are very good in the stock market and the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange. So you find the investment, the asset that you want to invest in that will work for you and your family, and then you invest that way.
Yeah. The goal is definitely for you to create passive income.
Right.
That means,
what is passive income?
That means that it's income that is generated where you don't have to do anything. It's coming in.
Right.
Yeah.
So passive income can come through a business.
Correct.
And it can also come through an asset, another asset, a non-business asset. So that's why we want you to move over to the right side of the quadrant, and that's where you should live, and that's where we live. And so we're going to help you if you want to. If you want to move from the left to the right side of the quadrant, we can help you with that. But you're going to have to put in the work, and you're going to have to do some things. And starting with going to Chris Wood's book on Amazon.
Oh, thank you for the book.
And purchasing The Compact Guide to Multiple Streams of Income. That's the name of the book. The Compact Guide to Multiple Streams of Income. The book is $5. $5, guys. $5. If you can't invest $5, I can't help you.
Yeah.
Can't help you.
You can get the book at anywhere you Barnes and Nobles. If you're an Apple person, you can get it at the Apple bookstore. Again, like you said, it's only $5. And I guarantee you'll make that $5 back.
Okay.
I'm that confident in it.
And it's a really good book. And I am a harsh critic.
You really are.
So if I say it's a good book, it's a good book.
And it's an easy read.
And it's an easy read. So just go ahead and purchase it. Support the local entrepreneurs here. And we are looking forward to assisting you as well. And just so you know, the proceeds from the book is donated to charity anyway. So it's not going to our pockets. It's going to a local charity that helps kids in the arts and in with literacy. So if I were you, I would just go and purchase the book anyway, just to make sure that you are doing something for yourself and you're doing something for your community. Okay? Now, that is all we have for you tonight. I am so glad you joined us tonight.
So glad.
So glad. So glad. Stay tuned next week for another episode of Love and Entrepreneurship, where we will dive deeper into the cash flow quadrant and the mindset and how to make yourself switch over from the left side to the right side. I think we should get a little bit more practical about this.
Yep, definitely. I want to continue to talk about, the entrepreneurship mindset, because that is the key. You have to have the mindset in order to switch over from the left side to the right side. It's very crucial. Yep. So, I am Chris Woods.
And I'm Ty Woods.
And again, you tuned into the Love and Entrepreneurship show. Definitely go back, listen to other episodes. Find us on the Love and Entrepreneurship website. lovingentrpreneurship.com. We're glad that you tuned in. Make sure you subscribe.
Bye for now.
See you later. If you got any questions, let us know.